What I'm thinking is if we can get this fence out of the way, I can really reach up in there and separate everything. Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to try to deal with a gigantic overturned tree. I've got a neighbor about a quarter-mile down the road who cuts his own firewood and heats his house with wood. And he had a tree come down in this last storm, and he called me up and said, I just don't think I can deal with this myself. Will you come give me a hand with it? I'm gonna go down there and do the best I can. I'll give you guys fair warning at the beginning. When it comes to dangerous situations, I do not get in any hurry. We're gonna take a look at every hazard on this before we start a saw. This is not paid work for me. This is just neighbors helping neighbors. And it's such a blessing to have the freedom and the equipment to show up and try to help someone with a problem like this. And you guys who watch these videos make it possible for me to do this kind of work for people. So I've been standing here talking to the property owner, trying to decide on a plan of what we wanted to do. And I think the first thing we want to do is try to reduce the amount of weight that's hanging off of this. Because the more weight you have back here, the more leverage you have to flip that tree back up. So it may not change the way we make our cuts when we do get the saws out, but I think if I could knock a couple thousand pounds off this root ball, it definitely is not gonna hurt anything, that's for sure. So as we look at the hazards, the first thing people are going to notice is we have a marker pole here for buried phone lines. But the property owner has already done a call, and those lines are dead. They currently don't go to anything. This root ball is absolutely enormous. I'd say it's 25 foot wide, and it's just holding so much weight that that's gonna leverage the tree up before we do a whole lot of cutting, probably. At this point, notice that the root ball is sticking out at least 5 or 6 feet in front of the fence line, and it's leaning forward, and we'll contrast that to later. You can also see here we've got a fence line. This was growing right at the fence line. And then we've got a fence going this way too. Now this is the neighbor's property, but he said the neighbors are pretty chill about the whole thing. It's already damaged the fence in between, and but we will have to do some of this cutting on their side of the fence. So we've got all this weight here, and these are large diameter branches that are all hanging across this fence line. And that's a lot of weight. That's, you know, 20 to 30 feet up in the air with all those branches. These have to be brought down. All right, let's see if we can get through here. So when the tree fell, it's lifted this fence up. So there's another category of entanglement here is the fence. So I watched some videos where guys took and just cut this off right here and let that root ball stand up. But I'm not sure I want to do it that way. Because if that stands up, this fence could move. This whole thing could try to roll. It could fall that way and the butt could kick back. Really, there's a lot of different hazards here. So this comes halfway up my waist, and the trunk right here is just slightly elevated off the ground. So it's a good 3.5 foot diameter. All right, we got all of this weight out here suspended. All right, I'm definitely moving too slow. I need that throttle up. Proof of concept, my first concern is, will I have room to park this without being in the road and still be able to reach? And I definitely do. I'm a little too close. I can't get an angle to hit this. I can reach over here and work and then come back to that. I basically need this to be able to reach higher, but it's setting down the hill. So the base of the backhoe is too far down this hill. I don't know if I did a great job of explaining what the hazard here is and what I'm trying to accomplish. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube showing people trying to deal with these overturned, uprooted trees. And if you just go up to the tree trunk and start cutting, at some point there'll be more weight and tension and leverage on this root ball than the weight holding the tree down. And at that point, this tree will just stand itself back up. And that's a dangerous situation. So I'm trying to reduce the weight and the tension on this root ball. Woo, doggy, I'm sure I can rip it off now. All right, this is the property owner, Brandon here. He's gonna cut this fence for me. What I'm thinking is if we can get this fence out of the way, I can really reach up in there and separate everything. But I don't want the fence to spring back at him, so I've kind of pinned one side of it down. I could probably drive the tractor in here and pull the rest of this off. I feel like we're knocking some weight off of it, right? Yeah. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because this digging at the root ball gets a little bit repetitive. But one thing you can notice as I'm working on this side is that as I break the pieces off, the mass of the root ball is actually shifting backward away from us, which means that what we're doing is working, and it's kind of proof of concept that this is less likely to try to stand back up as the weight of the tree is pulling it forward. I would say that a bucket full of this dirt weighs probably 1,500 pounds. And I bet we removed 5 bucketfuls of dirt off of the root ball. So you're talking 5,000 to 10,000 pounds removed. And that's just a guess, but I know it was a lot of weight. And I was really happy with the way this backhoe performed. It never ran out of power at any point. The only fight I had was trying to keep the backhoe from pulling the machine down into the ditch. So I had the property owner in the tractor, and he kept moving us back forward, which sped things up a little bit. So something just happened there that you guys probably, or I'm pretty sure you could not have seen, but I was cutting this large diameter root down towards the bottom. It's on this side. And as I cut that, it separated and kind of went like this off to the side. That root ball fell back a 1/2 inch.
Not much, right? But both of us that were over there saw it move, and it moved back. So we got all the dirt knocked off the root ball, broke all the roots down at the bottom, and then I pushed all that dirt and piled it up. I think we've removed one hazard, which is the tree standing back up. Now a second hazard to working in here is trip hazards. So if I'm cutting here and it starts to go the wrong way, I've got to be able to move backward. So we need to do some brush cutting in here. And it's not that much. We could do it manually, but I'm just going to bring the skid steer down here and clear all the way around the tree so we've got a good work area. So this is exactly what I said in the intro, and it's proving to be true. I'm in no hurry at all. I've been here for several hours and haven't really even ran the chainsaw, but I feel like now we have a safe work environment.
So what we accomplished today was making the workplace safer, and we started on the cutting. This is my friend's neighbor's property that we're on right now, and he wants to be able to mow his yard. So we cleared up all of this, and we moved all this brush out of the way by hand. And the reason we did it by hand is I don't have a working setup for running a grapple on my tractor as of today, but I will in a few days. So this video will have a part 2 where we finish cutting up this tree, and there are still a lot of challenges left with how much weight is hanging up in the air. But I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.